My name's Naadia Jackson-Amiga, and I'm an online marketing specialist, and I'm so excited today to bring you Mailchimp. So we're going to be setting up your Mailchimp account. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to use lists and groups, and some tips, a little bit of tips and tricks around lists and groups. I'm going to show you how to brand your sign-up forms and why that is important, and then also where can you use the sign-up forms. I'm going to show you how to create a really, really easy newsletter template just so that you can get yourself started. And, you know, a lot of time that's where we stop. We're like, how do we do it? I'm going to show you how to do it. It's really, really easy. And then last but not least, I'm going to show you how to create an easy landing page with an email that automatically goes out to them after they've like signed up for your ebook or something like that, so that you can easily get people's details, because it's all about database, because that's what Mailchimp's about. Mailchimp is a fantastic product. There's lots of different products out there for getting email addresses. Now, the reason I say always you should start with something like Mailchimp is because it's really easy to use, and it's free up to 2,000 unique email addresses. So that's a great start. Also, it does lots of stuff. You know, it does lists. You can send out emails to people. You can create sign-up forms to get more database. There's an automation system behind it. So, for example, you sign up for an ebook, and then they go through and they get the first one that talks to them about who you are and their ebook. The next one might talk about a product. The next one, you might give them some advice on something, and it actually happens automatically without you having to do anything once you've set it up. So Mailchimp does a whole lot of cool stuff. It's just brought out landing pages, which they're fine. They work well. They're not as sophisticated as others, but that's okay because we're just starting, especially if we are just starting. The other thing is it's you can put pop-ups on your shop or your website. So a little pop-up can come up on your website talking about your ebook or whatever you want to talk about it. So it's really, there's some really cool, funky things with Mailchimp. The other thing I like about Mailchimp, beside it being easy to use, is it's got a bit of a sense of humor. I like Mailchimp, it's got a sense of humor. And the other thing is it connects into everything. So because Mailchimp has been around for such a long time, it connects into everything. So what I mean by that, it connects into websites, it connects into all sorts of different things that you can do. Okay, so it's a really, really cool system to use. So let's get started. So I'm going to go and share my screen again. And let's get started with actually, hold on, before we do that, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to move that up here. Then I'm going to start sharing. Share my screen. And I'm going to pick that one. Always seems to be easier when we first do it. Oh, here we go. Great. That's what I needed. 1 second. Just getting myself sorted here. Okay, good. Now, so with Mailchimp, we're just going to set up Mailchimp, and this is the easiest way of doing it. You just go to mailchimp.com, and I'm going to quickly set up an account. But while I'm going to do that, I want to give you some tips and tricks along the way of how to do it. Okay, so this is how we set up a Mailchimp account. So the first thing is sign up for free. It's always good to sign up for free. We like free. There is a paid edition of Mailchimp, and when you get to over 2,000 subscribers, you can do that as well. So the first thing is, let's go and put in. So I'm going to say my email is Naadia@NaadiaJackson-Amiga.com. My username is going to be Naadia Jackson-Amiga. Now, I've just changed my branding from Uniqueness Solutions to Naadia Jackson-Amiga. So my name. So you can, in your email address, it needs to be an email address that's not a Gmail account or a Hotmail account or an AOL account or whatever else accounts that there are. It needs to actually have a domain name. So you can set one up with a Gmail account, but you can't send out any emails without a domain name. So just in case you don't know what a domain name is, this is a domain name. So the NaadiaJackson-Amiga.com is a domain name. uniqueness-solutions.com, asb.co.nz, they are all domain names. And so what you do is you have the domain name, and then you'd have your email address. So it could be info, admin, Naadia, your name, whatever you have at your email address. So if you don't have one of these, if you don't have an email address at the domain name, Mailchimp won't work, because it is for businesses. And theoretically, if you're a business, you've got a domain name or you've got a website address or something like that. So that's just something you need to look at before you do it, is that you make sure that you've got an email address at a domain name. Okay, and then I'm just going to put my password. Just make sure I did that right, because it's really good to remember it. Okay, and then you go get started. And then what it's going to do now is it's going to, did you get the email? It's going to send an email. Oh, I've already received it. I love it how I receive emails on my phone before I receive it on anything else. There we go. Mailchimp Client Services, activate your Mailchimp account. You go in here, you click on Activate Account. And then you confirm you're a human. Now, the reason they do that is the spamming that you can get nowadays is getting a lot more sophisticated. So making sure that they actually have to click a button stops them from doing it. Next, let's put in our details. All very easy stuff at the moment. What's the name of your business? So it can be Naadia Jackson-Amiga. It could be Uniqueness Solution. And then what's my website? Let's put in that too. Now, if you don't have a website, you could use your Facebook link. Okay, you can, or your Twitter URL. You can use both of those if you don't have a website. Let's put in the address. Now, this is what's really interesting. So if you don't have an official business address, you can learn about physical address alternatives. One of the things I do is I also go, I don't necessarily just put what the actual physical street address is. I put Diarella Drive, Clover Park, Manukau. So it's still there, but it's not, they don't know what house number it is. Unless you've got a business address, and then please put your business in here as well. Okay, then Mailchimp asks, does your business sell anything online? So this is like products and things like that. So what's really cool is it can actually connect directly to your shop product if you have it. So I'm going to say no because I'm not doing that. But if you said yes, for example, we'll say yes for this, you can actually, it actually connects up. And what's really cool about Mailchimp with shops is that when somebody buys a product, that information goes into Mailchimp, and it actually tells you what shop product they've purchased. So at a later time, for example, you can go, everyone that's purchased a video telling you how to create Mailchimp, when they go, and then I can actually send out an email to them going, hey, you've bought this video, I hope you enjoyed it, here's another one that you might enjoy. So you can actually segment your list like that when you've got a shop as well. It's very cool. Okay, so next thing is, do you have a list of email subscribers? Now, this is people who have signed up to receive marketing emails at a workshop you've done, at a competition you've done, anything like that. So it's really good to, to make sure, if you have an email list of email subscribers, just tell them, it's all good. Now, if you don't have a list of email subscribers, that's completely fine as well. Sometimes it's better to start from scratch. Now, the other thing is, if you want to know how to set up an email address at your domain name, I do have a separate email, I will be doing a separate webinar just on that, so we'll look at that a bit later as well. Okay, so the next thing is you can connect your your emails directly to your social media if you like. So if there's certain campaigns or certain emails that you're going to send out, you can connect them up. So if you wanted to, you can connect them directly to Facebook. We're not going to do that, but you could if you wanted to. And then you go continue. Now, you can also subscribe to the bi-weekly newsletter if you like. So if you want to, please do that. I don't want to because I know quite a bit about Mailchimp now and I don't need them. Though I do get the one through my agency as well. So that can be quite good as well. Okay. Now, this is a new thing that Mailchimp's just brought out, is introducing postcards. You can actually send postcards to people. So if you want to do that, please try it out. It's quite fun. Now, Mailchimp brings out new things all the time, so it's really, really exciting. Okay, now, because I clicked on yes to a shop, it actually says I can actually connect straight away to a shop if I wanted to. And you can do that now, or you can do it later. So things like Shopify connects straight really easily to it. WordPress connects really easily to it. You know, Drupra, all of those ones, they connect really easily to Mailchimp as well. But we'll do that later. We don't need to look at that now. So that is setting up. So I've now set up my Mailchimp. I've set up the account. It's that easy. It's really basic to do. That is how you set up a Mailchimp account. Okay, so now let's look at lists and groups. So let's click, so up the top here, you've got campaigns, you've got templates, you've got lists and reports. Now, let me quickly talk about this. So campaigns are the emails that you're going to send out, okay? Templates, now, these are the ones that I would use. So you'd create a template and then you'd use that same template over and over again in campaigns. Some people create emails and templates and then put it into campaigns, and I find that really messy. So, and also you lose some of the features, some of the merge features. So I'm going to show you how to do a template later, and we just want to keep templates really clean. You might have a couple of different templates depending if it's a long email, if it's a short email, if it's a product email. You might have different templates for those, but otherwise do everything through campaigns. It just makes everything a lot easier. Okay, so let's click on lists. So in lists, what's really cool about Mailchimp, it automatically sets up a list and you have one subscriber, me or you, depending on who set up the account. So it's really cool. You've already got one subscriber, so theoretically, I can send out an email already. I'm started. I've got a list. So this is your list here. Now, to do anything with the list, there's a couple of different ways. You can either click on the highlighted name of the list here, or you can click on the stats here. And I always use the download, the drop-down button, just because it gives me all the information I like. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's go into settings for the list. Now, in here, let's say, I don't want to call it Naadia Jackson-Amiga. Why would I want a list called that? I might want to call it online marketing. So this is my online marketing list. So you can change the name of the list here. Now, sometimes when you're connecting Mailchimp with other parts of your website, for example, they ask you for the list ID. Here it is. This is the list ID right there. So how to get to the list ID? You click on your list, then you go to settings, list name and campaign defaults, and there's the list ID. Something that I use a lot, so I know that's something that people look for. So the other thing is, so I've now changed my list. Now, when we look at lists, let's just quickly go back to this one here first. We're in lists here. Okay, now, how Mailchimp works is the 2,000 unique subscribers are unique to a list. So if you have 3 lists, and the same person with the same email address is in 3 of those lists, they count as 3 people. So how I talk to people when I talk to my clients is I say, are you going to send out a newsletter to all the clients, or do you send it out to different target markets depending on what you do? Now, if they say yes, then I suggest we have one list. What I would suggest though is that if you have an opt-in, like a free ebook, or you're doing a competition or something like that, that you actually have a separate list for that, and then when it's over, you would just move them into the main list. Now, the reason I suggest this is with Mailchimp, sometimes people can subscribe from different places, so you want to be really careful about that. The other thing is that, of course, for the unique email addresses, right? So you want to check, if you want to keep using the free system, you've got to keep it under 2,000 email addresses. Now, if you're going haywire and you're getting lots of good email addresses, not the spam ones, then don't worry about it. By that point, you will hopefully be getting traction and getting money out of the list anyway. So paying for it, and it's not a huge amount, is really good. Okay, so that's the list. If I had a camp meeting, for example, with my family camp, I would have that as a separate list. And all to do that is you just go create list, type in the, so if we're going to create list here, we'll go create a list. And I'm going to call this a Minga camp meeting, a Minga camp. I'm going to call it a Minga camp. So we go camping every year, and it's going to come from Naadia at Jackson-Amiga.com. My default name is going to be Naadia Jackson-Amiga. Now, if in here you could put, if your company, if it's a company about a company, like the company is the company, you could have, I've got a company called Jack's Coffee that we work with. You could put Jack's Coffee in there if that's what you wanted. It's just a name that they would know if they saw it. Now, this is what's really important with this. Remind people how they signed up to your list. So it could be that they've come from a workshop. So one of the things could be, and they actually give you some really cool things down here. So it could be you are receiving this email because you downloaded one of our ebooks, or are a client of Uniqueness Solutions, for example. The biggest thing is it's just so that people know where they're coming from. That's also really good when you're doing a competition or anything like that. They want to know how they got on part of it. So just make sure it's really important to put that in, and that stops the spam. If somebody says it's spam, then you can go back to them and go, but hold on, you downloaded. And they're like, oh yes, I did. And I did say that. Then make sure that this information here is correct. And then here you can enable double opt-in. And you can also enable GDPR fields. Now, GDPR fields is if you've got any clients in Europe, you need to be compliant with GDPR. It's the new way for people to know how they can unsubscribe and things like that. So if you click on that, the information will automatically come into the sign-in. So I'm going to click on that just so we know. The other thing is here is enable double opt-in. Now, if you want to make sure that they're not spam, this is actually one of the best ways of doing it. It can be good and not good. There's bonuses and things for both sides. So double opt-in is when you sign up for an ebook, and then an email comes into your inbox going, hey, just checking that you are who you say you are. They click on it and then they get the welcome email. Single opt-in is when they just type in their details and the welcome email automatically comes to into their inbox. Okay, so it really depends on how particular you are about your emails. So you want to be, so if you're doing a challenge or something like that, you might want to be more particular. You might not worry so much if it's people who are outside your client target market. So you just got to be really careful with that. The other thing I would always do, if we can, is get a reCAPTCHA, which I'll show you about that in a minute too. Then here you can actually get notifications. So if you want a daily summary of what happens each day, like if you're getting a lot of people in, you might want an email to say how many people have come in, how many have unsubscribed. It can be quite good to do it that way too if you want. Or you can do it one by one. Now, what I would suggest with the one by one is only do it one by one if there's a reason that you need to know that somebody's subscribed or unsubscribed. So one of the things you've got to be careful of is people go, oh, I want to know when they unsubscribe. And I'm like, why? All it does is do your head in. Like, really. It makes you, oh, somebody doesn't love me. And it's true. We feel that, right? When somebody unsubscribes, we take it personally. Where for them, it's just another email they get and they're not interested at that time. Like a lot of time, it doesn't mean anything. So I would always suggest you don't look at how many people have unsubscribed on a daily basis because it doesn't matter. But I would go in and maybe either get the daily summary or keep checking your Mailchimp a little bit and just go, okay, that email, a whole lot of unsubscribes happened. Let's check out what it was. Maybe I wasn't specific enough with who I was sending it to. So there's a lot more ways of thinking it, which is a more positive way, where if you get an email all the time that says unsubscribe, 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 it can actually affect your mental health well-being. So it just depends on why you need to know that. If you need to know it, then make sure you do it. That's why you have different lists. Okay. Cool. So then you can, if you want to, you can actually upload your contacts. You can import contacts. So if they're in a spreadsheet, I would always suggest that you get first name and email address. Main reason is I don't know about you, but I like getting an email that says, "Hi, Naadia." I do. It makes me feel that it's part of me. I can also put a name in the subject line. So it could be, "Naadia, are you interested in online marketing?" So that's always good that you can do it that way as well. The other thing that's quite good is sometimes you can weave their names or some other personal information into the actual body of the email as well. And that's actually really cool because then it feels more personal to you. Because I know how these emails work and even I like it. So it's, it could be you're talking about something in the middle of your email and you go, "So Naadia, what do you think about that?" And because they put your name in it, it automatically feels more personable than it would before. So you can all easily import contacts as well. Okay, so one of the things with settings here, this is the settings of your list, is these are the list names and merge fields. Okay, so these are the things that you're actually going to have. So at the moment I've got an address field and a phone number. I don't actually want any of those, so I'm going to delete them. Now, when you delete things, Mailchimp, make sure that you actually write delete correctly, otherwise it won't delete it. So you can't delete something by mistake. You actually need to type it in or choose it, okay? So you actually have to do that. So all I really want is the email address and first name, and I'm going to make the first name required because I want everyone to have a first name when they do it. You may not, and depending on where your client market is, so for example, if your client market is mostly America, you might only want an email address. I find that with New Zealand and Australians, we like having everything a little bit more personal because that's who we are. So we've got the email address, we've got the first name, and we've got the last name. Wonderful. You can also manage these fields in the sign up form as well. Now, the other thing that's really cool, the other thing is, you need a required email footer, right? Which is where we did this bit here with the reminder. And you want to look at how people can contact you. And if you want a phone number, you can, and you can also put an address as well. Then they ask, so a lot of the stuff is actually coming when you actually created the account, but it's quite good to go and have a look. Now, we've created a list, but before we go on, I just want to check one more thing. This is how you can, you just want to make sure that your Mailchimp account is actually connected to the right thing. So, where is it? It's in settings, and if we go to details, this is something that we have a lot of time. Okay, in here, in settings, and then go to details. In here, this is the time zone. So you want to make sure it's in the time zone that you're in, because it just makes it so much easier when you're sending emails. So we go to New Zealand +12, so I just go to New Zealand. And the date format, I change it to my date format. So in New Zealand, it's day, month, year, and it's normally a 12-hour clock that we work on. You can also work on 24 if you want to. But having this is really important. And one of the things is that when you first come in the morning, or in the afternoon, it goes, "Hi, good morning, Naadia," or "Good afternoon, Naadia." So I've had it a couple of times where I've gone, "Good afternoon, Naadia," and I'm like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, need to change my settings. So that's where you change the settings in here. So this is, you can also add users. So for example, if you wanted to add somebody in that helps you with Mailchimp, this is where you do it. So you do it, so you go up to the top here, you click on profile, and it takes you to here. And then you click on settings and you can go to users. Same thing with security, contact information, and also verified domains. Now, so with Mailchimp, there's two ways of verifying a domain. Okay, so you can verify Naadia Jackson-Amiga, because we've done that. We've just verified that when we logged in. The other thing is you can actually customize your account so that the campaigns come from Naadia Jackson-Amiga. They don't come from Mailchimp. there's a whole lot of interesting things that you can do with that, and that actually has to do with your domain records, like your actual records. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing when you do it. There is setup instructions that tell you how to do it, but it's a little bit interesting, and I've done it on multiple different ones, and sometimes it works really well, and sometimes I have to do it again. So it's just something to think about. So you can do some more oh my goodness, you can authenticate yourself a little bit more with Mailchimp as well. So that can be quite good with making sure things are coming from the right thing. Okay, so that's just some of the little things that also you can do. There's also billing, which hopefully you won't need to worry about at the beginning. And then when you can definitely do that as well. You can also pause or delete your account, especially if you're paying for it. There's integrations. There's also, if you want an API key, which sometimes websites need to connect to the list. So the API keys in here. So this is everything to do with the actual account itself. Okay. Now, if there's any questions, please put them in the chat. One of the other things that's just come up in the chat is I said, hi, Naadia. You can also go, kia ora, Naadia. You could say whatever you want. The hi can be whatever. It's just the Naadia, the first name bit, which is the most important bit. You can put words before it or after it, no problem at all. Okay, good. So now we've created our lists. Now we want to create a sign-up form so that people can sign up to the list. So what you do here is you can click on Naadia Jackson-Amiga there. And then you click on sign up forms here. Okay, now in here there's quite a few different sign up forms. So you've got your form builder. So this is the one that hooks in really well to things like Facebook and things like that. So this is the main form builder. Then you've got the embedded form. So let me just show you what an embedded form is. So if we quickly go to this website here, an embedded Mailchimp form looks like that's an embedded Mailchimp form. Okay, so you can easily have these kind of things here. So that's an embedded Mailchimp form. So that's the embedded Mailchimp form. The pop-up, don't want to go there. Let's go back into here. No, here. Okay, that's the embedded form. The subscriber pop-up is, I don't know if you've seen them, but you go to a website and a pop-up pops up. And it's there and you can type in your details, you can do anything like that. You can also create one of those as well. So that's a subscriber pop-up. Form integrations is when you can connect things to like Facebook, you can collect things on a tablet, there's a whole lot of different things. We're going to start with the form builder. And the main reason here is this is where you can actually add fields and things like that if you like as well. Okay, so this is as you can see, it looks really basic. It's still interesting enough, got the address and stuff, which I shouldn't have, but okay. So I'm actually going to go, I don't want that. I want to delete it. Let's delete that. I don't want the address. I don't need it for me. You may need it for you. So we're going to go delete. And I'm going to delete the phone number as well, because I don't need that as well. What I would do is only have fields in your Mailchimp that you need, otherwise it can get a little bit interesting. Now, a birthday can be quite interesting if you want to. You've just got to figure out how you ask people that, who would actually give it to you. Okay, so that's just something to think about too. Now, you may go, I don't need a pop-up form. I connect automatically through my website, and that's fine, except this is the same type of form that if somebody wants to change their email address or wants to unsubscribe, this is what they see. This is one of my pet peeves. So one of the things, one of the things I find the hardest thing is that I will go and update my email address, and they've got this beautiful newsletter, beautiful email that's gone out, and then it comes to something like this, and I'm like, okay, now this takes like 5 minutes to fix up. And this is how you update your sign-up form. Now, this is, and updating it here updates it on all the forms that you'd have. So, for example, it'll update the look of the unsubscribe form. It updates the look of the update profile form. If you want, a landing page can sometimes be part of this. Forwarding it to a friend. This is what the form that comes with it. So even though you might go, I don't use the sign up form, please brand this. It's really, really important. Now, so it's just sign up forms. Let's just quickly go through it again. Sign up forms, form builder, select. Now, there's not a lot of things that you need to do here to make it look better. It's just, for me, it's just about an image. So I would go, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to use another image. So let's go into here and I'm going to go change. And this is how you upload files, which is cool as well. I'm going to upload a file. So there's a couple of ways I can do it. So I'm going to take Naadia Jackson-Amiga black and go open. And it's just going to update my logo for me. Now, okay, perfect. So it's done this, great. So there's my little logo. It's said it's quite a big width, so I can change it. So I'm going to make it 500. So how Mailchimp works is the newsletter outline is 600 pixels across, right? So if you wanted to have an image, it's 600 pixels. So I want it to be a little bit less than 600 pixels, so I've chosen 500. You can change things. You can even edit the image. So I'm like going, I'm going to edit this image. So I can even click on edit with photo image and I can go in and edit it. So if you've got an image in here and there's too much stuff at the top and the bottom, you can crop it. You can also resize it in here. You can change the orientation. See, I can flip it and I can turn it and I can do all sorts of stuff, right? Oh, and we can also cancel it. You can change the lighting on it. So there's actually a really cool, I can make it, oh look, so it's just made my photo really light. I can also use shadows and highlights and contrast and brightness. So there's a whole lot of cool things that you can use if you want to. And that's actually in Mailchimp itself. Okay, so there's heaps of cool things that you can do here as well. So we're just going to get out of that because I don't want to do any of those. Now here's where you link. So I'm going to link to my website. Ooh, that's not the one. And in here you can say, do you want to open it in a new window? So I'm going to say yes, because I actually want them to fill out the form, and then if they need to, they can come to my website separately. It could be that you don't want them to open a new window. So a new window is like a new tab. So it'd go from here and it would open up into here, for example. The other thing you can do is show image style options. Okay, so image style options, and this is the same imaging that we can use everywhere. Okay, so in here you can line it to center, left or right. You can add your alt text. So we're going to say Naadia Jackson-Amiga. You can also do your top, right, bottom, or left margin. So we go save and insert. So what it does here is it comes in and puts my image in here. So this is creating the sign up forms, right? And in here, all you do is you're just uploading your logo or uploading an image that you'd like to hear. The other thing you can do, which I like doing, is I like putting the first name before the email address. So you can just move things around if you want. So we're going to, put last name up here too. So you've got first name, last name, email address, and I'm going to ask for their birthday because I can. Now, do I like the background color? I'm not sure. So you can actually, in here, design it. Okay, you can actually change your colors. So you can't put an image as a background. They haven't updated that part yet, but you can change the color. So we might go, we want it red. Oh, that's a very red. We might want it blue. We can have it like that. So I'm going to change my color here. You can change the header. You can really play with it, right? There's lots of things that you can play with. Your body, you might want it a different color. You can have a different color for the default text, and even for your link style. So blue does not match with my colors at all. So we're going to make it like a reddy color. Ooh, like that color. I'm going to make it a little bit brighter. So that's my, that'll be my link color if I wanted to do links. Okay, so now I've got this, I've got my pink, I've got my color. The other thing I can do, which is quite cool, is I can also change the button color. So at the bottom at the moment is grey, and I'm like, don't really like that. So you can actually change the butter colour as button colour if you want as well. Now, if you know what your colours are, you can just type it in there. I think my one's DF, and that's when I get a bit stopped. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But it could be that I actually want to use a purple colour, so we'll use the purple. If you've got your specific colours, please use that. Okay, so please use your colours if you've got them. A lot of us know what our colours are, and so you can put the colours actually in there as well. So let's say we're going to have a purple button, and then when they hover over it, so hover over it, see how I'm hovering over that now, it's changing to grey, and then I come back, it's purple. If I hover over it's grey. Let's change that to green, because we can. Oh, yeah, I'm going to change it to green. So if you've got two different colours, you can use those. So it goes green to pink. Yeah, green to purple. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go in and grab my colour, because that would actually be more helpful. So it's always good to know what your colours are before you start. Okay, so I'm going to go grab my colour, and then this is pretty much what it's going to look like. Okay, might be 1 minute. Should have had this up beforehand. Okay, come on. Branding, okay. I normally had this ready, but of course I didn't for this one. Okay, so it's always amazing with technology, how when you look at a screen when you really need it to go, how slow it goes. And normally it goes really fast. Okay, so this is my color here. So I'm going to change my button color to my red. Now it also could be that you've heard that actually that's really red. You've heard that the best color for a button is orange. So you might actually have an orange color, or you might have a green color, or whatever you've decided it's going to be, right? So you can change your colors, and if you can have your colors which are similar to your website, that's one of the best ways of doing it as well. Okay, so we're going to make it that one green, and this one's going to be my red color. So then it's not quite in your face. Now, what's really, if we're going to get a little bit more exciting with this, you can also translate it. So what does translate mean? This is what they have said is going to come in. So, for example, if you go to, here it says subscribe to list. I don't want it to say subscribe to list. I want it so that they can download an ebook. So I want to say in here, so where it says subscribe to list, I actually want it to say get access now. Okay, that's what I want the button to say. So now when you save your translation settings, it now changes it to get access now. So there's some really cool things that you can do. So you also might want to say, and here you go, join my list to get great tips and tricks on online marketing, and also get your free ebook. Get your free ebook, 5 ways to get online fast. Okay, so you're telling them that they're going on a list, but they're also getting a free ebook. So you can put all that in. It's very similar to Word and things like that, as in you can change the font, you can bold, you can change, there's a couple of different fonts here you can use. You can choose different font sizes if you want. We might want to put that down there, and we want to center the whole thing. So, and this is the best thing about Mailchimp, play with it. Have a go. Try different things. Because it won't affect anything unless you're actually sending stuff out. So we've got it now. We've got to say, yeah, there we go. We've said that. Get access now. Now this badge here comes up automatically when it's a free, when you're not paying for it. Okay, so that'll be staying there until it's free. Though there are different ones that you can use. Okay, so if we go back to design it and go into monkey rewards, we might go, I want to change it. Now, if you choose it to, so there's a whole lot of cool things that you can choose. One of the ones I like is this one. Now it's a little bit bigger, but what it does is see there's no box around it. So it kind of fades into the background a bit more. So I feel like it's not so much in their face. And that's just the one I like using. But there's a whole lot of funky ones that you can use in here too. So that's the monkey rewards. And that's their way, it's a free system. There has to be something that they get out of it, okay? And that's what they get out of it there. So this is my new sign up form. Now, let's say somebody goes, oh, how do I sign up? So you take the link here, you put it in the URL, your website. And here is your sign up form. Okay, that's the sign up form. It's really easy to do. That's how you set a sign up form. So this is what you could, if you wanted to, you could have this link on a website. So on your website, you could have sign up here. They click on the button and it comes to this page. So that's a really easy way of doing it. Also, if anyone asks you, where's this, how do I sign up? You can send them this link as well. You also might want to have this link on your email signature. So at the bottom, it might say, hey, join us to get great tips and tricks on online marketing and get your free ebook. And then they click on the link and it takes them to this page here. Okay, so that's how you set up an online form. So, and the reason you'd get them to sign up is if you don't have people's names and email addresses, then you don't have a list. Okay, so it's always really important to have something like that. And you want to make sure, you want to see if you possibly can to get the people on your list who are your target market. The other thing with lists, which is really cool, is you can, when you export information, you can export from a whole lot of different things. So, for example, if you had a Google Sheet, you would export the Google Sheet as a CSV file, and then you could upload it to Mailchimp. The other thing you can do is you can actually just cut and paste in as well. So as long as you've got them in the right, feels like you've got a first name and email address for me is always the most important. If you've got those, make sure they're in separate columns, and that's a really good way of doing it as well. Okay, so that's how you create a sign-up form. Now, if somebody was going to unsubscribe, this is what it would look like. So it would say unsubscribe, we're sorry to see you go. When they go to update their email addresses, and this happens a lot where you might have people who are updating their details. It goes, hey, we've received a request to change your subscription preferences. If you've made this request, update your preferences. So they click on the update their preferences, and it will go to the update preferences form, so everything looks similar. And this is also the email that can go out as well. So it says, what's your email preferences, update it. Now, if they've got information in here, I'm pretty sure it comes up with the information in there already. The other thing is there's also some emails that can go out automatically as well. So, for example, there can be a confirmation thank you email that goes out, and that's automatically branded to how you want. This is actually an email that you're seeing here now. So changing the sign-up form is really important with a whole lot of different things that does like the automated part of your list to keep it clean and tidy and make it work. Now, if you click on continue to our website, for example, it goes to the website. Manage your preferences, it goes to the manage your preferences page. So it's all really important to make sure everything is branded correctly. Okay, so that's sign-up forms. Now, the other thing, before we go any further, the other thing with sign-up forms is, say you wanted to ask people what they're interested in, right? So you could also have a checkbox that goes, okay, so we go checkbox and we say we want it to be online marketing interests, for example. Okay, so here I would say, so group one would be database management, database building. So they're interested in that, which is kind of like Mailchimp. Whoops. The next one would be sales pages. The next one could be website creation. The other one could be gaining more clients. Okay, say field. So then what happens is it actually comes up and asks them about that. So when you go into your online form, it will actually ask them those questions as well. Now, knowing this can actually be really important if you want to make sure that your list is interested about a certain topic. So if you're finding that people are coming off your list because they're not interested in a particular topic, then this could be quite a good way of doing it. So say you've got a business and you have 3 different sales funnels or 3 different products that you're doing. So for example, it could be like an oils, it could be like a basket product, and then it could be a kitchen product that you sell. One of the things that you could do in your main list is ask people what they're interested in. Are they interested in oils? Are they interested in the ethical free baskets? Are they interested in learning more about getting more recipes and learning about a kitchen appliance? You can actually ask them here. Then whatever they say here, then you can then segment the database to actually just go out to everyone who has ticked on database building, or everyone who has ticked on sales pages. And so there's all those kind of things for this as well. So this is just setting up your sales page. This is just setting up your sign up pages. Now, the next thing about the sign up pages is, so that's just setting up your basic sign in page, right? Next thing we're going to look at is, so embedded forms is something similar. So you click on select here for embed forms, and in here you can choose what comes out. So there's lots of information that comes out, and we go, I don't want all that information. I only want the required fields. So what it's going to do now is only show the required fields if they're the fields that you've chosen to do it. So that's why I would always make, in sign up forms, I always make my first, let's go back into select. I always make my first name field a required field. Now that's my preference because I want them to put the first name field in. So I'm going to go first name here, and I'm just going to say required. Okay, and save. Now, if you don't want your online marketing interest to be required, then you shouldn't use the checkbox field. You need to use another type of field. So you'd use a radio buttons field instead. So checkboxes is a required one. Because at the moment I can't tell it to not be required. So that's always interesting as well. Okay, so then we go into embedded forms. So embedded forms are really cool. This is what you'd kind of use on your website. It uses code. So this is the coding here. This is the code. So you just copy, you just copy and paste it into your website if you know. So you just need to know what you're doing a little bit with that, right? So you just need to be careful. You might want to talk to your IT person to make sure that they do it, and that they can do it. But you could also go, okay, we want to show only required fields, so it's these fields here. I don't want to show interest group fields, so that goes away. I don't want to show required field indicators, so that is the little ticky things here, because they're all required, so you don't need to worry about that. And I don't want to show my format option. So there's a whole lot of different things here that you can do, and then once you've got it all, you've got your coding there. So you can also do super slim, which is pretty much like that. You can have it horizontal, so it comes out like that. So the button comes out here. It doesn't come up with the first name, unfortunately. You can have a naked one, so it's really like that, and then you can recode it if you want to. There's a whole lot of cool little different things that you can do, okay? So this is when you kind of either know what you're doing to using the code and manipulating it, or you've got somebody who does. So they might go, look, just send me the code, and that's how you create it. Now, a subscriber pop-up is really, really funky. So just to give you a heads up very quickly, because you're on the course or you're registered for the course, you will get the recording of this, because I know I do go quite fast, but I just want you to get all the great stuff, and then you can go back and forth on the recording to make sure that you get it sorted. Okay, so now here is the pop-up. So this is the one that will pop up on your website. So there's a couple of ways you can do it here. So this is obviously the design. This is the design of it. You can either make it so it slides in. You can make sure that so it's fixed at the bottom, like that one there is, or you can do it in model so it pops up. So it really depends on how you want to do it. Now, this is also for your website. It's not for Facebook, it's just for your website. And there is a little bit of code for this as well, just to give you a little bit of a heads up. Now, though, saying that, if you've connected Mailchimp to your online shop or to your website already, and you've done it the way Mailchimp wants you to do it. If you have a pop-up, it'll come in automatically, which is very cool. Okay, so the next thing is we've got, how do we want it to display? You can display it immediately when you can come in, after 5 seconds, after 20 seconds, after you've scrolled to the middle of the page, after you've scrolled to the bottom of the page, or when somebody exits your website. So there's a whole lot of cool things that you can do. And the best thing is you do it in here, you don't do it on your website, you just put the code on your website. So let's say that I'm going to have a pop-up after 5 seconds. Now, with the pop-up, you've got to make sure it's really relevant to the people who are coming to your website. So, for example, if it's a product, you can have a pop-up that goes, you can have a product that goes, get 10% off your first order. Now, that's relevant to them. If it's online marketing, for example, it might be a pop-up that talks about your ebook that you've got. That's relevant to what people would be coming in to see you about. So you want to make sure it's relevant, because pop-ups can be really, really good until they're really, really not. So you just want to make sure your pop-up is relevant. Also, what happens is once they've signed up, it doesn't come up anymore. So I go into a lot of websites now and I don't see the pop-up because I've already signed up, or I've already said no. And then it might come up another 7 days or 20 days or whenever I look at it again. Okay, so that's how you can, that's the pop-up settings. The next thing is the image alignment. Okay, so let's watch over here. How Mailchimp works is what you see is on the left-hand side, doing the work is on the right-hand side. Okay, so if we don't want an image, it takes our image away and it just does that. If we want the image on the right, it does it like that, or we want the image on the left. Okay, now if you're going to have a right or left, I would always suggest you have it on the left, because people automatically go left to right and they see stuff on the right. So if you're going to have an image like that, make sure it's on the right hand side. Okay, you can have different fonts for your field labels, you can have different colors. Your button color, you can say you might want to have get access now. If it's an ebook, for example, you can actually say what the button style is, and you can change your colors of the button. So it might be, I want my button color to be my red, for example. So we're going to put that in there, and then it should, oh, that did not work. Let's try that again. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. Where did that go to? Okay, and it changed my button there. So now it's gone, it's got my button colors in there. And then also, how do we want the button? Do we want left aligned, right aligned, or we want it full? So there's a whole lot of cool things that you can do. Then you can have your pop-up style. So you can have 60, so what it does is it pops in over your current website, right? So you might actually want it to be 50%. So what it is that comes in, but you can kind of see what the background gray is going to be. So it could be 0, and see the whole background will come up automatically and the white just comes up. I think 65% is actually quite good, because you don't want it too opaque. You want to, so how it works is when the pop-up comes in, you can vaguely see what's behind it, the website behind it. Now, if you do a 0%, you're not going to really see the pop-up. Okay, so make sure 65 is actually quite good, but you can play with this once you've done this as well. Okay, so let's do it. So let's add a photo in here. I'm going to add a photo, and the photo I'm going to add for my website is, here we go, webinar images. Okay, so I've got some images I'm going to put in. Let me just drop those all in there now. So I've got about some images. Now, the best thing about, one of the good things about Mailchimp is you can actually put really big images in there, because it compacts it. So it's, you don't need to get really small images if you don't need to. Okay, so I think with this, for this image, we might use that one there. So we're going to use that one, and then we go, let's just move that over the way, and we go insert. Okay, and now what it's going to do is, it inserts the image. Okay, interesting. It put the, that must have been what's in the middle of the page. So that's really cool as well. Okay, then I'm going to put in, so that's my fields. I can change the, these are the fields that I want, right? So I also want first name. Now, if I wanted birthday, for example, I could also move birthday before first name if I wanted to. I can't move it, unfortunately, above email address. It's just the way it works. So I'm going to turn that off because I actually don't want that. Okay. But I do want it required. So I do want it required. So here it has email address and first name, and then get access now. Then I go to my content, and it's got my image here, and you can either do it so it doesn't, that's the actual image, or you can go edge to edge so it fills the whole page. So it really depends on what type of image you've got. Okay, does that make sense with that? Okay, so now next, this is our wording. So we might go, get your free ebook, 5 ways to get your message online. Get your message online. So that could be there, and then but then that's there. Then I could also say down here, you will also get free tips and tricks on online marketing. Okay, so as you can tell, how it goes down is this page gets bigger and bigger. The image gets bigger and bigger depending on what you've said here. Now, if I want this, I could make that, because I don't really like that font. The grey font's great, but I think it's just a little bit too light grey for me, so I want to make it a bit darker. So I'm going to go more colours, and I'm going to say, so you can either choose from here, which is actually the colours I want, so that's good. And it's just making it a little bit darker. Sometimes I think grey is great, but you don't want to make it too light grey, otherwise you can't see it. So this is my little pop-up. It comes up with it like this. I've put the information in. I've also said that they'll get the tips and tricks, which is cool. And then you can also put a footer in as well. So the footer comes in below the button. So it would be so we can like your email address or your contact details. Your details are important to us. We will not spam you, for example. And then what we could do with that is you want to make it, you could make it much smaller. So it might be that you want to make it 11. So it just fits in beautifully in there. Then the next thing is you go down the content, it's going to say what your sign up message is. So this is the sign up message here. So here you could, one of the things I would put in here is go, please check your email, or please check your inbox to get your free ebook. We look forward to, I don't know, or you could say even something like this. Hold on, you could say, welcome. And then you can make this bit here, because it's a bit, you can make this here a little bit smaller, because this is where, please check your inbox for your free ebook. And check out our Facebook page. Our Facebook page. And then here you'd have a link. So you can have a link there to your Facebook page. Now this is the little link icon here. You can just put it in, or it could be just go, I'm just going to put our website in at the moment. That's a website, just so that we can see that that's what it would look like. You could then make it, you can't put an image in, but you can kind of make it, so you might want to make this bigger. You might want to go make it 48, go welcome. Now, just to let you know, this pop-up doesn't last very long. Okay, so when it pops up, it doesn't, the welcome bit doesn't last long. So you want to be really specific about what you're saying. So for example, if you were giving away something like a 10% discount, I wouldn't have the code in here, because it's not quick, it's not long enough. It doesn't stay up long enough for people to remember what it is. And that's why I say to people, make sure you tell them to go and check their inbox, so they know what to do. So you go, hey, go check your inbox, and then what will happen is it'll just disappear and have your website there again later on. And then all you do after that is you generate the code. And this is the code that you would give to your website designer, your website person, so that they can embed the code into your headers and footers in your website. So that's how you do it. It's pretty easy. Now, the other thing that's really cool with this is if you're using the Mailchimp connection, it just comes up automatically, which is really cool. And you just publish that. Once it's published, you've now got the pop-up form already. Now, what's really cool with this pop-up form is it automatically comes up in campaigns. You can then create a campaign that goes with the pop-up form. Okay, so you might want to create a campaign here because you've got to create an email that goes out to your list because you've just told them. You've just said check your inbox, right? So you need to make sure that there is an inbox that goes with it. Okay, so you go create an email here. And we want to make, so in here, this is how you do a news, how you create an email. Okay, oh, how you create an email, yeah. So you can either have a regular email that just goes out like it's a one-off, or you can make it automated. So automated means that they do something, like somebody signs up and an email goes out automatically. So we want an automated email, okay? And we want it when, we just want to welcome new subscribers. So you just click on welcome new subscribers. It comes up with welcome message. It asks you which list you want to go to. So we've got to make sure that the pop-up, so let's say that the pop-up went to the Amiga Camp one. We go begin here. And then it will come up. And this is here is when you would then create it. So there's a couple of things, and this is more about automation, but it's actually really important if you're going to have a pop-up or a sign-up form, especially if we've said sign up and get something. This is the email that needs to go with it. Okay, so we're in here. We've got our welcome message. We've said what list name it's going to. Then we've got the trigger. So this is actually automatically defaulting to say 1 day after subscribers join your list. I don't want them to do it 1 day after. I want them to do it immediately. So you click on that and you change it to immediately. Okay. Now the other thing you can do if you want to, it's up to you if you want to do this now. You can also tick this. If you import a list, then you want them to get that email, right? You want to be careful about this because it depends on where the emails have come from. So I would normally say don't do that unless you've done a workshop and then you're uploading that list. So you just want to be really careful what you're doing with this. So then we just go update trigger. And then we go in here and we design your email. So you've got your name and email, so it could be welcome for 5 tips ebook. So this is the name of your email so you know what it is. It's not for them, okay? It's not for the people you're sending it to. It's just for you. So you can differentiate between your emails. So the email subject. Now, the email subject line is really, really important because you want to make it snappy and so they know what it is. The best thing is, though, is that these guys are already looking, or these gals, or these people, are already looking for your email. So you would say, here's your ebook. Well, it could be welcome, here's your ebook. And you'd have it like that. And then the preview text. Now, so the preview text, okay, let me just show you this. So we go into our emails here. So this is the subject line here. We're so glad you're here is the subject line. Let's get you up and running is the preview text. Okay, so it's really important that we have a good preview text so that people know that they want to come in. So it's like, welcome, here's your free ebook, and it would be great to see you. Download your free ebook on blah, 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 blah. So you could put that information in there. And here, making sure that the from name and the email address is correct, and then you just click next. And this is where you would select a template. Okay, so we might as well look at the creating an email template now. Okay, so this is your email templates. Now, if you've already got them, you'd click on Save Templates, okay, once we've created them. Now, these are layouts that Mailchimp has they've brought out in the last 6 months or so, and they could do some really funky, cool things. So I would suggest that you use one of these. You can also use these basic ones as well, which are cool. And the best thing about, and both of these are great, right? One of the good things about something like this is you can go, okay, oh mate, do I want it in 3 columns? Do I want it to be banded so it goes across the whole page? Or do I want it in a box? Okay, so you've got to think about how you want your emails. How I mostly do mine is banded, right? So if you go, well, I just want to do this really easy and I want to send it, oh, there you go, a tailored follow-up email. I just want to do that. So let's click on that. So we click on that and it comes in, and then we can then save this as a template, okay? So we're in here and there's a couple of really cool things that are going to come up. Okay, so one of the cool things that you can do is you can actually add an image as a background. So let's go in here and let's say we want to put that insert. So that could be our background image. And then I'm going to, but I also want my logo in here as well. So let's go, I'm going to actually upload my other two logos that I've got, just because they've got different wording with them. It's the white and yes. Okay, so I'm actually going to have, yeah, so this one here you can't see, but it's actually got the white writing. So I'm going to put that in there. See, it comes up like that. So you can see it or you can't see it. That's cool. So I'm going, don't like that one. Let's replace that with the black one. Insert. So this is the one with the white background. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's okay. I could use that. And so you want to make sure it needs to be under 800 as well. So that's the image there. What's cool here is you can see with this thing here, you can move it up and down. So I could make it look just like that. Come on. See how it does that? Or I can move this up and down. So it's actually really funky, you know, if you've got a certain image in there to play with that here too. Okay, so then I can edit. Now you can, the best thing, these are called, these are content boxes, okay? So in here they're called content boxes. So that's just a normal content box. That's a content box, that's a content box, that's a content box, that's a content box. All of these are content boxes. And over here are the boxes that you can also add more stuff if you wanted to as well. So for example, if I go, actually, I want to add an image which has got 4 images. You know, you go, okay, I want to have this one, so I want that one first, and then I go insert. And then for this one here, so you can kind of create a collage, right? And then in here, I want to add that one, and you go insert. And so you keep going down until they should put, yeah, so now they've got both of them in it. So what they've said is the images are too large. So you go, hey, no problem. You click on edit and it actually says to resize them. So you can actually resize them all down to, you know, 1024 is what they would like you to resize them for. So you can just go apply there too and just go save. So then it's going to automatically save it to be here, 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 here. And this one's, and it just takes a little bit. So these are actually really big images. And what we're doing is we're making them a lot smaller, okay? So when you go in here and you go resize, it actually resizes to the size that you want. So then just go save. And what it allows you to do is then you've got 2 here, okay? So let's just see what happens. Right, this is what's really cool. It now goes, okay, the proportion of this image here is different to this. Let's fix it. So then you might want to go, yep, so they've actually, see here, they've actually got the correct sizing there. You go apply. So what it is Mailchimp's really trying to help you to get the right look. So now that we've done that, and all I've done is pretty much listen to what Mailchimp said, see, they're now the same size. Now, if you're going to have even ones, they'll come out like that. If you're going to have a third one, for example, so let's say the third one's going to be this one here. What you can do is I would say, I'm actually going to move this one to the top because I want it like that. And then it comes up like that. So it does show the 3 of them as well. Now, and this is actually saying this is too big as well. Let's fix it. And it also automatically gives me the right one. I'll go, okay, fine, let's use that. Mailchimp does know best. And it just resizes it a little bit so that everything fits in beautifully in the page. Now let's say I actually want to add some wording to it. So I can actually, if I wanted to, I can actually go in here and add some text. So you click on text and I want to make it white. And I'm going to say hi there, just because I can. So add text and we go, oh, no, we don't have that, delete. Oh yeah, here. So we go, hi there. Hi there. Test, oh yeah, here we go, hi there. It's just going a little bit slower than I'd like it. So you can go hi there. You can also, so there's that one there. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that one. And then we go apply. So what happens now is that, and this is what's really cool, you can actually add stuff as you go. It'll actually come up with hi there. So you can actually add, you know, wording and stuff to images if you wanted to. So that's really fun to do as well. So we've added that information there. Okay, so anyway, creating a template. We're going to create a really basic template, right? So a basic template is pretty much the top bit and the bottom bit, and making sure that's right, and that's branded to your brand, okay? So up here, I've got my logo, I've got the image that I use a lot there, and then down below, I've got my footer. Now, you have to have a footer with Mailchimp. You don't necessarily have to have this, but it will put some wording down the bottom no matter what, okay? So what I'm saying, we're going to create a really easy newsletter template. That's all it is. It's putting the logo in there. It might be an image in here, and then we go down the page. If we've got a shop, for example, we might have a shop. Now this is just a button, so this is down here. You go here, and it's a button, so you can actually put buttons all over the place if you wanted to. Now the best thing also with Mailchimp is you can update all sorts of stuff. So I don't want to say shop now. I might want to say get, and this could be access to anything. So it could be. So with me, it would be download my ebook, or download your ebook, download your free ebook. Okay, that's what I would say. Download your free ebook. You'd have the link to wherever it's going to. What's also cool is you can also have an email address. You can upload a file. So if the ebook, for example, you can actually upload the ebook to Mailchimp, and then you can just upload a file. So I'd ask you to upload a file. Let's just click on that for the sake of it. It actually comes up with a link here too. Then next, you can also you can change the style of the border. So you might want to have a border around it if you wanted to. You can change what size it is. So let's say I want a border with an 8 size. That's going to look really interesting, but you could do it. And you can have it a different color. Goodness gracious, that's absolutely terrible. So I don't normally have a border, but if you wanted to, you could, especially if you just wanted it to pop a bit more. The border radius is how round these little things here are, the edges. So let's say we wanted it 50, it would round it out to that. Okay, let's see what 100 does. Nothing. Okay, so 50 rounds it up to what we need. You can do a 5 and then it just makes it, or you can do a 15 and it just changes the size of how round you want it to be. So if you just wanted it to be a little bit, I would say a 5 or a 3. If you wanted it to be a full oblong, it's 50. Okay? So I quite like that. Let's do that. That's a 50. I like that. That's good. And then you can obviously change the background color as well. So let's say we wanted it, for this one, we wanted it green. If you've got your green, you know what your colors are, you can put your color in there. Okay, so we've got our color there. We want the button text to be white. You can make it, you know, depending on what color your button is, but white's normally the color that we use a lot. You can have it bold or not bold. The other thing that's really cool in here is you can have spacing. So let's say we want it, see how the letters change sizing. So we go, actually, we want it to be spread out more. Or we want it to be, you know, or we want it to be so it's in a little bit more. Or we just want a little bit so it's a little bit. So you can actually change it around if you want to. You can also change the font. So let's say we don't want that font, we want Merriweather. It actually just changes it in here as well. You can also choose different size, how big you want it. So we might want it a 16. And then you've also got the padding. So the padding, let's say if we wanted that 1, it goes really low like that. So you want to, or if you want it 50, for example, it goes like that. So 18 is a really good one, just to make it look nice and even on that one. The other thing you can do is if you've got lots of different buttons for some reason in your, like you have a really long email and you're asking people to all the way through it go, buy now, buy now, buy now, and you change the button once, you can also go apply to all existing blocks and it will apply it to all of them, all the buttons. So all the buttons then become the same if you want it to be. Or you can make each button a different color if you wanted it to. I wouldn't suggest that, but you could. Okay, so, and these are the little things that you can add. There's an image card. I suggest you go and play around, see which ones you want to use. The other thing that's really cool is if it's connected to your shop, you can use these things. So you can click on here and it will go, you know, if it's connected, it will choose which products are the most well-known. You can also click on here and put in a particular product. So in here, you'd have your shop, you could drop down and choose a particular product. Now, what's really cool with this is that then makes it automatically go to your, it'll automatically link to your shop product. So that's really cool as well. Okay, so let's just delete all this stuff out. And you can add this in, and then obviously with this, with the two products, you can then also go in and change the color of the buttons, change the name, change the wording, all sorts of different things. Let's just get rid of those as well. So when you're creating a template though, the whole idea of a template is what do you want it to do the most? So with my normal templates, I would normally just make it really basic. So I would have my, I'd have you know, the welcome message here. I might have a free ebook, and at the end, I would use another text box for a sign off. So this is where it could be you have your email signature. So it could be that you have, you could have your photo, and then you'd say Naadia Jackson-Amiga, online marketing specialist. I might down here say, you know, join my list. Actually, I wouldn't have it on here because you've already joined the list. Sorry about that. But and then you might have your Facebook icons or your phone number and your website, for example, and your email address. So you might have all that stuff there if you wanted to as well. With a lot of what I suggest to a lot of my clients is we use their actual email signature that they've got, that they actually use for their email, and we just plug it in here as well. Because sometimes it can be really good for people to actually be able to get hold of you in different ways. Okay, so that's the other thing I would suggest you do with an email template is you'd have your, you'd have your social share buttons. Okay, so if you were going to create an email out to people, for example, you've got a campaign that you want to tell people about, or you've got a competition you want to tell people about, and you want them to share it, like you want them to share your email, make sure that you have your social share buttons. Okay, so that's what these are. So you've got social share buttons and social follow buttons. Okay, so the social follow buttons are ones that so that people can follow you. Okay, now normally they could be at the top or bottom, whichever way you want to do it. But social share is if you want your email that you're sending out to be shared. Be very careful about this. So for example, for the welcome email that we would do for an ebook or welcome to the list, we wouldn't want them to share that because it's personal to them. Now with all these things, even if I put it in a template, you can always remove it from the campaign itself, okay? So sometimes having these things can be quite good just to do it. So you've got share, tweet, and forward. What's really cool with this, and this can be good if you've got a competition and you want them to share the competition, not this email. If you've got, so say you're doing a give a little campaign, for example, you'd want them to share to share the give a little bit. You wouldn't necessarily want them to share the email. So in here, you can actually, they can either share whatever campaign it is, or you can share a custom URL. So in here, I might go, actually, I want them to share my website. Jackson-Amiga.com. Or it would be your give a little page, or it would be your competition. So you'd have the link in here, and then you just have a short description would be check out my website, for example. Okay, so now that's where, so that would be where the custom URL is. You could also, if you wanted to in here, you could easily put your Facebook page. One of the things you've got to check out is what they're going to do is they're actually sharing to their Facebook about something you want. So you want to make sure that when they're sharing like your website or whatever else, that they're actually going to be sharing something to their Facebook page about yours. And I'll show you that in a second. Hold on. Okay, so you've got your custom URL here. You want to share it to Facebook, to Twitter, forward to a friend. You could also say, I want to share it to Google+. Instapaper, Pinterest, LinkedIn. So you can all share with, you can actually have a whole lot of different things that they can share here as well. The other thing is you go, well, actually LinkedIn is most important. I want that at the top. You can just move it by using these 3 buttons, okay? Now you don't have to have all these things if you don't want, but Google Plus can be quite a good one as well. The other thing is then forward to a friend comes up with an email using that sign up form we used before, using that look of the sign up form, so making sure that that's used, also gets used with this as well. Okay, so using these things here can be really, really important, okay? So you're creating your template. You might want to have your social follow on every single one. And in here, you would, if you're doing your social follow, you'd have your Facebook email address, you'd have your Twitter, you'd have your website. You can also add Instagram. There's a whole lot. You can add email. You can add a whole lot of different ones. So anything that you're on, you would put in here. The other thing with these is, and this is with every single component that you use in Mailchimp, is you can change the style if you like. So you can change if you know what the text is. You can also go over here and go, I want icon and text. I only want text. If you want icon and text, you can then go, do I want it like this? Do I want it like that? Do I want it like, there's a lot of different options that you can use. And then you can even choose to a certain degree what the colors are. So these are the color, and this is the things that we've given you, right? So you can actually choose what things you want to use from here as well with the colors. So there are all the different things with the colors as well. So that's the difference between, so social follow is your details. Social share is you want them to share to their system, like their Facebook, their Instagram, their LinkedIn, something that you want them to share, okay? So that's how that works there. So that can be really important to have in there too. And then with the footer, I would always suggest that this is the same color if you've got a website as your footer of your website. That can be quite good as well. I would have your social, which they've got here, your social follow. So this comes in automatically. Make sure you go in and put your link, because you don't want them to go to the basic Facebook page. You want them to follow you on Facebook. Okay. In here, this in here comes up automatically, and this is the list description that you put on the list, where it said you have joined this list because you've signed in or opted in our website. That's what the list description is. The list company is the name of the company that you've put in on your list as well. Your mailing address, and this is why I didn't want to put my actual number of my street address, because it goes out on every single email that you send out, right? That's your emailing address. And then this is really important, and this will come up even if you don't want it to. It'll come up with update your preferences or unsubscribe from this list. Now this is actually really, really important, because you want to make sure that people have access to be able to doing this. And what will happen if they click on either of those, that then comes up with that nice sign-in form that we've created with the branding of the sign-in form. And that's why it's so important to have it. And then it comes up with the rewards, you know, the Mailchimp. But even with that, you can still go into Mailchimp up here in design, click on Mailchimp, and you can choose which one you want. So I always use this one at the bottom because I just feel like it looks better. So in the design part, you can actually in the design part, you can actually create the template for the whole page. So if you were going to use a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3, a heading 4, a heading 5, you could actually create the information in here. So you might say, okay, this is a big one, I want it to be Comic Sans. So I'll show you what this means. So if I went into here and went header 1, header 2, header 3, and so I've gone and I can make the style header 1, and I make the style here header 2, and I make the style here header 3. Okay, so that's just for example. So there's the 3 headers. Then I go into design and I go page, and I go, okay, so I want header 1 to be a true buckle. See, it automatically changes it. I don't like that color. I want it to be pink. So what it does is if you're using a header 1, you're automatically defaulting all the header 1s to be the same. Now you can change them separately, but this is a really good way of getting some consistency to your emails, especially if your emails are long, which some of them could be, right? And then you can have styles, so it automatically comes in as bold or italic. And then see how the header is automatically centered. Well, I actually want it to be left aligned, or I want it to be right aligned, or I want it to be justified. Okay, so that's really important as well. You can say, well, I actually want it to be, I want it to be a little bit bigger. So see, this is about the letter spacing. So that's header 1. And then header 2, we actually want it to be blue. Okay, so and then what will happen is when you change it in here, it changes it everywhere. So it's really good when you're creating your template to actually think about what do you want your headers to be like. So header 1 could be the name of, say you've got different parts of an email. So header 1 might be the title that you use. Header 2 might be like a paragraph or a small paragraph header. And you might want to make the spacing there normal. And then with header 3, for example, we go, well, I actually want it to come straight underneath header 1. So that's how I want it to look. And you can change it. So it's really important to change it in here. It goes down to header 4. That's what it goes down to, which is really cool. Okay. So changing the pages and setting what you want your headers to look like is really important in your template. So the next thing is you can change the different parts. So this bit here is the header. And in the header, so you've got your background image here. You can have a border at the top. So you might want to have a border and I want to make it pink. Pink. See how it puts that border, and I'm just going to make it 10 just to make it really obvious. It just puts the color in there. And then I go, well, actually, I want a border at the bottom as well. And you could do the same thing, right? So depending on what you wanted to do, you could play around with it. Now, as I said before, the left-hand side is showing you what it's going to look like. The right-hand side is where you do all the work, okay? You can also have the padding at the top and the bottom. So you might want to go, well, I want a 5 for the padding and see how it moves everything up. And I want a 5 at the bottom as well, and it moves everything up. So it's the padding that goes around the logo. Or you could just do it like that, depending on how you want to do it, right? So, oh, my borders are gone. Interesting, okay. So let's make these pink. Now, I'm not saying you should do it like this. I'm just showing you what you can do. I would normally not have me personally, I wouldn't have it. I'd just have it something like that, and I'd move it down a little bit so that people can see it. But it just gives you what you can do. If you've got a background color, you can put a background color in. You can change your header text. So if you've actually got text in here, which you could have, you can change all your colors in here, and you can also change your header link. Okay. So and that's the same with the body. So that's the header. This bit here, the white bit in the middle is all the body, and the footer is the black bit at the bottom in this particular email. Okay. So in here, the body, you'd have what your background color is. So you can, if you want to, you could make this whole thing pink or blue if you wanted to, or white, or whatever color you want. So you might want to make it gray and make it like a light grey color, for example. So you can actually have different colors in here as well. You can also, if you really wanted to, have an image. So you can make it an image as well as the background. Now, what's cool about this is that's the outside of it, but you could also have a different color for the interior. So you could do it like that too, right? So if you look at the image, it's going to look like, let's just preview the image to have a look at what it looks like. So if you go and have a look at the image of it, okay, that did not do what I wanted to do. Here it is here. Okay, so with the image of it, oh, what happened to my image? Let's see what happened. It didn't stick for some reason. Let's do that again. Let's put my image in. I might have been a little bit too fast for it because that does happen. So I want to go insert here. Oh, no, sorry. I want that to be my background. Sorry, I want that to be my background color. So I want to do that for my background. And then I want, I don't want that. So I want to remove image here, and I want to make that white. Okay, so that's what I want. I want to make it white. So you've got your background here. And now the reason you need to do that is you need to click save, otherwise it won't save. So then you go into preview mode. Okay, into the preview mode here. And what it will look like is this. Okay, so you've got your thing at the top. You've got your nice image at the bottom. If you want to, you don't have to have an image here. It's just showing you what you can do, right? So you can have an image here and then you can have your white in here if you wanted to, depending on how you wanted things to look like. Now, you can also have a look what it looks like on a mobile phone. Now, just to give you a heads up, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. So I would always send myself a test to make sure it actually does work, okay? But that's quite a cool way. So that actually works, it looks good, so that's a good way of doing it too. So you can actually make your newsletter or your emails look really cool if you wanted to. So the other thing is if you had it like this, for example, you might actually go, look, I don't want a thing up here. I just want the image to go down here. You can change it around if you want to. And what you do is if you're changing it in the, let's just go save here. If you're changing it in the design part, it comes down everywhere. So you can have all sorts of fun things. You can play with it. You can have it really easy. And then the other thing I'd check is the body link, and I'd make it your color if you can. Because having too many different colors just really takes away from it. So making sure that your link has got it. I always suggest that you should underline them and maybe bold them so to make it really stand out. So what I mean by that is this is the link. Let's say we got this wording here and we want to link it to my website. Okay, so you want to link it to your website. See, it comes up automatically here with the orange because I made it orange, okay, or whatever colors you're using. And I would have it underlined, because then you could also, if you wanted to, use that orange as a header, because the underline means it's a link. If you can, I would keep the link separate from everything else, but it's up to you how you want to do that, okay? Cool, and so, yeah, so what I would do is create your template to how you look. Now, when you've got it set up, you just go save as template, and you might want to save this template as, I'm going to save this as my main Naadia Jackson-Amiga template. Okay, that's what I want it to do. Okay, so that's my main template that I'm going to call it. Okay, so now we've got it. Now, that's creating the template. Now, this email, this particular template or this email that we're looking at is actually to create a welcome email. So once you've got the template working like you want it to, then you would write your wording. Okay, so with the wording, I normally say, hi, welcome to whatever I'm talking about. You can download your ebook below, but before you do, here's a bit about what we do. Now, this welcome email is really important. It's the one thing that people will actually read, and you can pretty much guarantee they'll read it because they've just downloaded it. So you want to make sure that when you do this, that you have some really good wording in here about who you are. And then if they want to, they'll read it, and then they can go down to your download button down here. And then you've got your automatic email signature here as well. Okay, so then we just go save and close, save and continue, sorry. And now you've got it already set up. So it's already set up to go. You've got the list, you've got the welcome email, and then you just click on next at the end and go start workflow. And that automatically will start the workflow for your sign up for this thing. So what this particular campaign or this email or automation works on is it's anyone that signs up to the list. So whether it's a pop-up, whether it's your sign up form. So you know there's all these kind of things that you can do, which makes it really good. Okay, so we've created your sign up forms. And if there's any questions about that, please put them in the chat. So we've created the sign-up forms. We've created, I'm just going to move my head up here so that I can actually see myself. There we go. So we've created the sign-up forms. We've created a newsletter template. And we've set up the account and we've looked at the lists. So now let's create a landing page. Now a landing page is a link that you can send people to, which actually looks like a full page. So it's, in a way, it's kind of like the sign up form, but it's slightly different. Okay, so now let's create a landing page. Now let's me just go into, I need to move my head again, sorry. So, and it's really easy, right? So in campaigns, you'd go, okay, sorry, I just realized I didn't tell you something that's really important when you're sending out an email to somebody. Because we've got somebody's name, right? So let's just quickly go into here. Just want to quickly show you this. You want to make sure you go, Dear Naadia, or Kia ora Naadia, or Hi Naadia, or whatever. So we go pause and edit in here. Now let's go and edit this email. So in here, I want to make sure I say Hi Naadia. So it would be, so in here, I'm going to go hi, and then there's something here called merge tags. So merge tags is your last name, because we've got first name, last name, and email address, right? So it's first name. And I want to make sure it's left, and I want to clear the style because I just want it to say hi Naadia. So what will happen now, if we go and do a preview in here, and in here you can update the enable live merge tag. So let's just turn that on. And it'll actually come up going, except I don't have anyone on the list. Okay, if I had anyone on the list, it would come up here with the recipient's email address. And then over here, it would say what their name actually is. Now, this is actually really important to check, especially if you're replicating stuff, because sometimes it won't, it'll just come up with hi test first name. It needs to come up with the person's name. So enabling the live merge info is actually really important. Okay, so now that you've got that, you've put in the hi Naadia. Now the other thing is, it could be that you go, you're writing the thing and you go, so Naadia. So it'd be like, so Naadia. So it'd be like, so first name, what is your biggest issue with online marketing? And then you could have a whole lot of things. And because I've put it like that, so that so first name will come up with the first name of the person. So it just makes them feel like you're actually talking to them. So that could be quite a good little thing with that as well. Okay, so let's get out of here. And I just wanted to show you that tip, and I knew I hadn't told you because I talked about it before about first name, but we hadn't actually put it in. So that was really important that we put that in. Next, and we'll just start the automation again. Resume workflow. Okay. So we've got that set up so that now when anyone signs up to our list through our sign up forms or our pop-ups, the information automatically goes in. Now, and this is the same with the landing page as well. Okay, so let's create, we go back to campaigns, and then up here we're going to go create, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a landing page, okay? So let me just move my little head. We're going to create a landing page. So to create a landing page, you go to campaigns, you click on create campaigns, and you choose create a landing page. Okay, it's quite easy. Now, there's two types of landing page. There's a product landing page when you've got a shop, and if you wanted to talk about a specific product. Or you'd click on a sign up landing page for an ebook or just signing up to your list. Okay. So let's say this, we're going to have our landing page name. So this is going to be our 5 tips, okay, for interior designers charging what you're worth. Fantastic. And then we're going to select the list. And we're going to select Naadia Jackson-Amiga there because I know there's something in it. It's mine. And then we go begin. Okay, so now with the landing page, what happens is there'll be something in your email list called sign up source, and it actually says that it's come from this landing page. So that can be quite good too. Okay, so it kind of is going to look like this. So let's make this. We're going to have an image in the background, just like we have with everything else. We're going to insert that one. So you've got the kind of thing at the back. You might want to have your logo here if you want to. So let's just replace my logo with that one. And I'm going to make it smaller because I think that's really big. So let's just resize it. And I want to make it like 400. Because remember, it's 600 across. So I'm going to go to there. And I'm going to make it smaller. And hopefully that'll make it smaller. Yes, there we go. So it's just made it a little bit smaller. So you can change that there as well. A big enticing headline goes here. So it would be download, or it could be free ebook, or get your free ebook, or whatever you want to say. So get your free ebook. And then here's the wording. So you might want to say, and they actually kind of tell you. So you can use the space to tell people what they get for signing up. So you'd go, so enter your details below to get your free ebook, 5 ways to blah, 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 blah. 5 ways to get your message online, and get tips and tricks on your social media, on accelerating your online marketing, for example. Okay. Now the other thing you could do here, just like everything else, they've got the same content boxes here. You might even want to say here, get your free ebook, 5 tips, what was it? 5 ways to get your message online. So you might want to make that, if you've got styles in here, you might want to make it a, well, that's way too big. A header 2 or a header, oh yeah, that's full, a header 3. And then you just go save there, and then this is the enter your details below. You might want to make it, like that if you want to. You can change your font size. You can do a whole lot of different things that you want to do. Then, just like when we did the online pop-up form, so this wording is important. It depends on what you want to put in though. Okay, so then you've got your pop-up form, and you go into design, and you click on. You click on here. And then in this bit here, you can actually then choose what you want to put in. Okay, so you could put in, if we wanted to, you could do your online marketing interests if we want, which we don't want on this particular one. We just want our first name and email address. And then it says, what do you want for the button? We want to say get access now. Okay, so you go save and close. Now, of course, we want the button to be a different color. So let's click on styles. And here you can change the font color of the labels. You can change the background color. So we want our button to be green, and we want the hover color to be blue. And we want it to be centered, but we don't want it to be full width. So you can really change things around. So it's very similar to making a pop-up. But actually, we do want it full width, because why would we not? And then you can have the text button color a different color. So you might want it pink or not. So white is normally the color that we choose. Now, this is what's also really important about that, is the confirmation part. Okay, so you can preview what the confirmation state's going to look like. So that's what it's going to look like, right? So let's just take that. So this is what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like when you actually go into sign up for stuff. Here is the confirmation state. This is what it says. So instead of saying success, you've been added to the list, you might want to go, you could say success, but you might want to go, welcome, please check your inbox to download your ebook, for example. And with that there, you might want to make it a different color to really stand out. So it'll be one of your colors. You'd probably want to make it centered. You might want to have, you might want to change the font to be a different font so it really stands out. You might want to change the size. So maybe not to that big. So in here, so this is where, that's what would come up. Now the confirmation email is actually, this bit here is really important. It's about telling them what you want them to do. So if they're just signing up for the tips and tricks, then you just say, hey, success, you've signed up, we'll talk to you soon. If you want them to check their check their inbox, this is where you need to tell them to check it, okay? This is way too big. And I don't like the color, so I'm going to change it to a different one. So it could be something like that, okay? And so once you've done that and you've made it look like you want it to look, now, same with everything else, you can change your design. So in your page, you can change what a heading 1 looks like, and we want to make it normal wording, normal writing, and we want to make that normal as well. No, sorry, this one normal as well. See, it actually just, it stops the amount of space between the lines. you can do that here as well, just like you did in the email. Same with the header part, you can change the background here if you wanted to. So for example, if I wanted to, I could have a background. Oh, my header, so that's the header there. So we don't want that, but we could, if you wanted to, you could change it to make it look different. There's a whole lot of different things that you can do here. Same with the body, so this is the body of it. If you wanted to, you could actually have an image here instead. So if we wanted to, we could have an image here. So that's the body of it, come down here. So you'd have a different image up here and a different image up down here if you wanted to. So I'm just going to remove that image because I don't want to do that. You can also have the body interior designer. So if you don't want it white, for example, so here you can have an image if you wanted to. So say if we wanted to have that image there, we could have it there. See, and it just changes that image there. Wouldn't suggest you do it, but you could if you wanted to. So you've got your header, you've got your main body, and we're just going to take that out because we don't want that. But there's a whole lot of different things you could do, right? And then obviously changing the color in here as well. So all the different parts are very similar. Now, okay, so let's say we've done all that. We've got our mobile styles. Now, if you wanted to, you could have your mobile styles different. So on a mobile, headers could look different ways. So instead of being 30, they could be 20 or bigger or smaller, depending on what you want it to look like. The biggest thing is you can play around with this. If there's a note, you can have a notification bar at the top. So it looks like that. You accept our use of cookies. So it could be special, only available only available until tomorrow. I don't know if you wanted to, whatever you wanted to put in there. And then what would happen with that is it would come up, special, only available until tomorrow. So it's a little special notification bar. So it could be free shipping if you've got products. There's a whole lot of different things you could do in that. Then there's the privacy badge, okay? So we include links to our privacy policy and terms of use on all our on all our landing pages, and you can choose which one you want, okay? What you want it to look like. Now, let's preview it. So we go up here to preview it, and this is what it looks like. So it would look like, this is what it would look on a desktop. So it comes in looking like that. On the mobile, it would just, so it would have the special style here, and then it would just come down with that information here. Okay, and that's what it would look on a mobile, so you can have a look at that. And then you just go save and continue. And so in here you'd have a page title, so this would be the, so it would be 5 tips, for example. Oh, and this is going to appear in the browser's title bar. So you'd want to say like 5 tips for interior designers for this one. Interior designers. Then you go save. And then in here, if you wanted to, you could also add a URL. So you could also change it. So you might want to put 5 tips for interior designers. Okay. Now, if you upgraded your account to a paid one with a verified domain, in here would actually have Naadia Jackson-Amiga, or would have uniqueness.co.nz, depending on what you want. But at the moment, it's going to be something that they generate. And that's fine as well. So you've designed the content for your landing page. This is the URL. So this is the URL that you would use. So it could be if you do a Facebook ad or something like that, and you want them to, oh, that's why, because I haven't actually published it. Makes a big difference when you publish it. So this won't work until you publish it, just like we've seen, okay? But that's a URL you can use on your website. You can use on Facebook ads. So for example, you want somebody to go and download your ebook, you get them to click on that link and it would go to the landing page here. Now you can also set up settings and tracking, which is quite cool. Okay, so you've got to agree to the additional term, you just go accept. Now, one of the things you might want to put on is you might want to put reCAPTCHA. That's the little I'm not a robot button. But you can track with Mailchimp if you want to. You can track with your Facebook pixel if you've got the Facebook pixels. And you can also track with Google Analytics. Okay, so if you're doing a whole lot more, especially with the marketing, and you're doing things on Facebook, I would definitely put the Facebook pixel in here. And if you're using Google Analytics for your website, which I really suggest you use, then you'd put the code in there for the Google Analytics. Okay, so then you just go publish. And now let's go back to here, click on refresh, and it should come in here. And no, of course it doesn't. Oh, okay, let's go back to the page. Click on here. And this is my free ebook. Okay. Now, what's also really good is you can then see it's got the Mailchimp privacy terms, but it's really low down the bottom. So what I would do is have a look and go, okay, this is actually quite big. You might want to get rid of some of these things to make it smaller. But there's so you could get rid of that, for example. Looks pretty, it looks nice, and this is a landing page that you can use. And then all you do is you type in my email address, I've got my name in there, I go get access now, and it comes up automatically, welcoming me, please check your inbox to download your ebook. And then I would go to my inbox, and if I've set up the automation correctly, which of course I put it onto the wrong list, so then in here, you'd obviously make sure that you had a campaign that was going to the right list. Okay, so this, and it's actually, so this is it here with that. So, and you'd hopefully the welcome message would automatically go out of the correct list. Okay, so that's how you make a landing page. And as long as it's attached to the right list, you can then send out a welcome message to them with an email. Okay, so we've set up the Mailchimp account. We've looked at lists. We've looked at sign-up forms with your branding. We've looked at creating an easy newsletter template. And we've looked at a landing page with email.